The sky is blue, clouds above. It's going to be a dry day. This is the final round, the first of two races, the sixth and final round of the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS. Welcome to the Shanghai International Circuit. A couple of titles already have been sorted, but over today's race and tomorrow's, in which a typhoon could be due, there are 5 categories to be settled. The overall driver's title, the Pro-Am title, the Silver Cup title, the Am title, and the China Cup title as well. And what a playing field on which to unleash the 32 cars. It was a little bit chaotic in qualifying, but this circuit gives them space to stretch their legs. 3.7 kilometers, twisty to start with, but then that amazing run out of turn 13 all the way down to the hairpin at 14, a little twist to the tail, 16 turns in all, space to overtake. And even the first 2 and 3 corners are an amazing place where positions, certainly on the opening lap, will chop and change. You can be sure of that. All the championship front runners are at the very front end of the grid. But with no further ado, let's go down and have a quick chat with the pole sitter, Wyan Chen, Harmony Racing Ferrari.
Here with the pole sitter, starting this position on his home, in his home country. So congratulations again, it was amazing. You said the grip was good, you know the track well, you have a huge crowd who's cheering for you. I saw so many with the t-shirt with your name on it. How much the pressure?
Well, certainly there's 2 ways to look at it. One is pressure, but also I try to take the positive side, which is the cheer and then the encouragement, and take that to my end of the stint, I hope.
Well, the pressure is there, the excitement is also there. I wish you great racing and all the best luck.
Thanks a lot, and I will do my best and hand it over to my teammates.
We're just watching you. So, all right, all the best luck.
Thank you very much, with Amy down there with Harmony Racing's pole sitter Wyan Chen. He's got so many fans, they're sort of penned into the back of the garage, and I think fortune's shining on him because he managed to find the only shady place down there on the grid. It's a very warm day, 30+ degrees. You can see the flags fluttering around, and tomorrow there is talk, it's maybe slightly dwindling, of a typhoon coming through, and our race is late morning tomorrow, but it may just come through, I don't know, in the final 5 laps. So wait and see for that one. But today we're set fair here at the Shanghai International Circuit. But let us introduce the entire scene of what is coming ahead of us, excellently put together by Tom Hornsby.
Overall and class championships will be decided this weekend at our Shanghai Showdown in China, which stages a Fanatec GT Asia round and season finale for the first time since 2019. And what a showdown it promises to be. One of these 6 crews could yet win the driver's title, although only 3 of them retain a realistic chance. 50 points are still available for winning races 11 and 12, but that appears highly unlikely given the impact of success penalties and how competitive this year's championship has been. Indeed, 9 crews have tasted victory in the first 10 races. The odds and history are therefore with Liu Wei, who extended his lead at Okayama partly thanks to Anthony Liu and Alessio Picarillo enduring their worst weekend of the year. That also helped Bob Yuan and Liu Yi Hongli leapfrog Absolute's crew in the standings, but their 16-point deficit to top spot is the greatest at this stage of the season in series history, and only once, back in the inaugural 2017 campaign, has the leader not ultimately been crowned champion. Origine's number 4 Porsche also competes without a success penalty on Saturday, limiting the opportunities for Liu's rivals to close the gap. The remaining 3 title contenders will also find it very difficult, but not quite impossible, to overturn their deficits. FAW Audi Sport Asia's Frankie Cheng and Adley Fong are the highest placed crew without a Porsche, but trail Liu by 34 points. Their best hopes for championship titles are therefore the Silver Class and China Cup. They lead both, but only by small margins. 2023 title contender Prince Abubakar Ibrahim also has a mathematical chance. But he must win at least once, something 888 JMR's Mercedes-AMG has failed to do this year to have any hope of upsetting the odds. Meanwhile, Bian Yi and Edoardo Liberati forced their way into contention by winning Okayama, but their VSR Lamborghini now needs 2 more if it's to have any chance of completing the most miraculous of comebacks. The same also applied to Marcus Winkelhock before Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute's driver was forced to withdraw through illness. Elsewhere, 35 points separate David Tiaptum Biantoro from his only AM Championship rivals, Andrew McPherson and Ben Porter. Finishing 1 position behind AMAX Porsche would therefore be enough for Garage 75's driver to wrap up the title on Saturday. But 2 championships are no longer available. That's Teams and Silver AM. Origine was responsible for winning both at Okayama, and the latter with this car, shared by Yuan and Yi. Their 911 is one of 32 cars entered at Shanghai, after Harmony, EBM and Phantom added a Ferrari, Porsche and Audi, respectively. We'll see them all this Saturday and Sunday, when qualifying, both races and the coronation of 2024's champions play out live on SRO's GT World YouTube channel.
And back here on the grid with former champion of last season and championship contender. So it is getting quite tight. It's the last weekend. You are looking forward to be crowned champion again. How much is the pressure? You didn't have quite the qualifying you wanted to. Where's your heart at?
Defending champion. Just a correction. We're gonna go all out because we just swapped chassis. Finally, we found out that we had a chassis problem. It was flexing. That's why we've been uncompetitive all season long. And it's a little bit late, but all's not over. We have our chance of claiming the title again is as much as Kamala Harris winning the U.S. presidency, but astronomical, but still possible. So let's go get them.
All right, let's win this race then. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you, Amy, and thanks to reigning champion, as he said, Anthony Liu. Car number 1, the red and yellow Porsche, starting in 4th position on the grid. And if you weren't with us in qualifying, the first of the qualifying sessions had not 1, not 2, but 3 red flags that really interrupted the flow. But for any of the runners who got in the front few positions, they did incredibly well to put in 1 qualifying lap that counted. We know the times could have been quicker if they'd had an uninterrupted run, but it was real pressure. And Anthony shouldn't be too disappointed with 4th place. But I think the point he made about having a new chassis for this weekend, all year they've had an inkling something was wrong. Absolute Racing put them in a new chassis, and they've got to see what it does across not just today's race but tomorrow's as well. And just to go back on what happens if you finish in the top 3 positions, you're really hampered for the second race. If you win the race for the second race, your pit stop will have an extra 15 seconds. Try making that up in a 1-hour race. 10 seconds extra to pit stop if you finish second, and 3 for third. 5 seconds extra for third. And the 3 cars that are carrying that today are the number 6 Lamborghini who won the second race at Okayama a while back. That's Bian Yi and Eduardo Liberati, so they're really going to be hampered, and they're not starting near the front anyhow. They're on row number 6. The Triple Eight Mercedes, Prince Abu Bakr, Ibrahim and Mikel Grenier, they'll have an extra 10 seconds. Therefore, any of these 3 crews I'm mentioning will really struggle to get in the top positions in this race, but they'll start tomorrow without any success penalty. And the third car to be hampered is the number 13 Porsche from Phantom Global Racing, which is starting down in 12th. So, as you can see from the flags blowing down on the grid, we were just looking down at the team Gojik and Nissan. It's very blowy down there, and it's blowing right the way from tail, the end of the start of the start-finish straight down to turn 1. Remember, turn 1 is an uphill right-hand corner. Maybe they'll have to adjust their braking accordingly. They have the wind blowing them in there. You can see everyone down on the grid. There's the man who makes it happen, Benjamin Franasevici, looking in on one of the 3 Lamborghinis from Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. But let's hear from the driver who is leading the China Cup and the Silver Class. His name is Frankie Chen Kung Fu.
Back on the grids with Frankie. So mathematically, you can still win the overall, but technically or realistically, the Silver Championship and the China Cup Championship.
Yes, I mean, at the moment we're leading the 2 championships and still got a chance for the overall wins. In the end, you know, it race is a race. We always try to do our best. And I have a strong belief to the team and also to my teammate Adley. And I believe we have a good chance and we try to give our best.
Well, you started the season with a win, so it would be nice to end the season with a win, is it?
That's our goal, yes.
All right. All the best luck and have fun.
Thank you, thank you.
But good to hear there from Frankie Cheng. You can see how warm it is on the grid, beads of perspiration on his forehead, but I tell you, there's more pressure this morning, and he delivered 3rd position on the grid. A really good scramble at the end in that number 36 Audi from FAW Audi Sport Asia Racing Team. But the championship leader, Louvet, Origine Motorsport. Origine have already wrapped up the team's title because they've had such a strong contention. They've got their number 4 Porsche and the 87 assistant car. The 2 crews are 1st and 2nd in the overall championship, and plenty to play for, but it's been tough. There's the 888 Mercedes. Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim will start the race, and he'll hand over around the midpoint in the race to Mikel Grenier, Mercedes works driver, Canadian driver, has raced a lot in Europe, but increasingly here as well with the Prince of Johor clouds just started to come over a little bit, but it's blue sky and clouds, but still you can see down on the grid the flags waving hard. You can see the Korean flag. That'll be alongside the SRO Motorsport entry from South Korea, which is just out of shot, but a little bit of cloud may be welcome, may just keep the track temperature a little bit in check. Air temperature around 30 degrees, so certainly a factor for all the drivers. But let's go back down to the grid. We've been talking about Liu Wei, the championship leader. Let's hear from his teammate. That's Lauren Heinrich this weekend.
So Lauren, can you tell me how frustrated Liu Wei was after qualifying this morning? Because this is probably not quite the position he wanted to start with.
Yeah, I think not only Liu Wei was frustrated, also me. It was not the qualifying we were hoping for. We had some issues with the brakes. Obviously in a race car you want to go flat out, but you also need the brakes. So yeah, it cost us quite some time, but I'm confident we fixed it now and should be a good race. And I think it's always nice if it's a bit more exciting.
Let's go green then, and all the best luck.
Thank you.
And you can see from the graphic there, it's just Wei Lu at the top. How come Lauren isn't up there? Well, the reason for that is that he's been sharing the second seat in that car with Bastian Boos across the season, both sort of on Porsche's works books. And this is the car that's actually got pole position for the second race. We're looking down at the 22 Climax Racing Mercedes, but for this first race, it's down in 10th position with Zhongwei Wang at the wheel of that. So now we can get to see the cars. The bright pink one is one of 3 cars this meeting that are not entered in the championship, but they came along to play anyhow. That's number 2 from Phantom Global Racing. They normally run Porsches, but that, if you're eagle-eyed, was an Audi. And this is the car number 87, one of 2 that are entered in the championship by Origin Motorsports, and they are sitting pretty. That's Bob Yuan's car, he'll share with Liu Yihong Li. And that's starting 5th on the grid. And I just can't reiterate enough how frantic it was in that first 15-minute qualifying session. And the 296 Ferrari outside the front row, Andre Canard. And that's Absolute Corsa. And bearing in mind, Absolute run 2 Porsches, 2 Audis, and this 1 Ferrari. It's a busy place for them, but in the background of the shot, you can see the 87 Porsche. That's the car second in the championship for Bob Yuan, starting in 5th position. Dorian Boccalacci and Chris Chia, car number 13, that is starting just outside the top 10, 12th on the grid, another one for Phantom Global Racing. So maybe the temperature's about to drop a little bit. Now, just hearing that we've got Harmony Racing on pole position, you can see there's number 77 Ferrari 296 GT3. However, the sister car, the 99 car, has had all sorts of steering wheel problems. It just wasn't functioning, and it caused not 1 but 2 red flags in their 15-minute qualifying session when the driver was left with no or little power. They tried to get it going. It was very, very confusing, but they've got a Ferrari expert down there. And let's hope that they can get it all together, because they eventually didn't get to set a flying lap. So that's starting from pit exit. It was due to be starting 32nd out of 32 cars, so probably a safer place to get it all together from, because bear in mind the first 2 corners in particular, the uphill right, that you go over the crest of the hill into turn 2 and then drop down into turn 3. It certainly can be what you call in America a fender bender location. Car 88, that's one of a couple of Mercedes from Craft Bamboo Racing, Jeffrey Lee and Maxi Goertz. And all looks cool and calm down there. As cool it is not. Calm, potentially it could be. So we'll have the final formation lap and a second one that follows. And an unusual element to this championship, Fanatec GT Asia, is the fact that the clock for the 1-hour race starts when the first of these formation laps has been completed. And the second time of asking, they'll come out of turn 16, they'll look at the lights on the gantry and accelerate. But right now it's a chance for the drivers to assess the track. It's already changed from this morning. The temperature is changing. The amount of cloud cover is increasing. And also another element need to be considered for a lot of the drivers, particularly those that don't know this circuit. This is our first visit since 2019. Is the fact that they lost the Thursday running because a typhoon in the region delayed the arrival of the cars until 24 hours after they were due to be here. So they hit the track for the first time yesterday. For a lot, like our pole sitter, Wyan Chen, that's fine. He knows the circuit well. So this, the first of 2 races for the final round, the 6th and final round of the 2024 Fanatec GT World Asia Series, powered by AWS. 2 formation laps. And we will get underway officially. Race start time early afternoon. Let's look at the grid. Wyan Chen on pole position, Harmony Racing Ferrari from James Yu, Audi Sport Asia. Team Absolute with his Audi. Then Frankie Cheng, who's leading the Silver and the China Cup classes, starts third. Anthony Liu, last year's champion, on fourth on the grid. Bob Yuan, second in this year's championship. Origine Motorsport is fifth, and Andre Canard in his Ferrari alongside. Championship leader Lu Wei and Prince Abubakar Ibrahim starts in 8th position. 9th is Hu Yuki, and then Fang Zhongwei, Climax Racing. That number 22 Mercedes will start tomorrow from pole. 11th position, Bian Yi, winner of the second race in Okayama, and Dorian Boccolacci, very well placed on the grid for tomorrow, but today 12th. Then Ben Porter and Han Ming Wang for Volgas Motorsport, 13th and 14th. Kunfan Ruan and one of the extra entries, Li Huan Yu, and then Tao Chi and David Chiptobiantoro, who is the AM class leader. He's not the highest qualifier, but he's not got too much to do. Another extra entry, Hubo and Isham Pires down in 20th for Absolute Racing. Then Lili Chow, Climax Racing, second Mercedes, and Brian Lee, the GTO Racing Team, Porsche. Antares Zhao was due to have Marcus Winkelhock as his teammate, but he's unwell, so Antares to do the whole race. And Hiroaki Nagai, 23rd and 24th. Then Akira Mitsutani, one of the VSR Lamborghinis. And Hirobon, far back for him, for 26th in the mighty Nissan. Jeffrey Lee, Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes, 27th. Daniel Bilski back on board for VSR, the driver from Hong Kong. Then Setiawan Santosa, one of several drivers running solo in this race. And Licky Liu, the driver from Macau, in his Elegant Racing Team Mercedes. Vijay Fugasak, no time on the board for him. He'll start 31st. And Liu Hangcheng will start from pit exit, hopefully, in that number 99 Ferrari for Harmony Racing. There we are, 32 cars, 31 on the grid, or Motorsport going around on their first formation lap, and one sitting waiting at pit exit. So let's give you a bit of car ID. We've got a Ferrari on pole position. There it is, the Rover-sponsored Ferrari. Then we've got Audi Sport tucked in behind in second with James Yu at the wheel, already a winner this year. That number 4 Porsche coming across shot in 7th position is Lu Wei, championship leader. Let's just recap on the points. Tom Hornsby talked us through it. 16 points advantage going into the penultimate race. We've got 50 points to play for, and they're allocated 25 for victory. 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. And basically, Lu Wei could land this title today with tomorrow's race still to run if he finishes 5th or higher and none of his championship rivals finish ahead of him. However, even though the grid was a little bit jumbled by the first qualifying session's stop-start nature, the clock, by the way, has already started counting down for an hour. More to that later. But he's sitting fairly pretty in 7th place overall, but it does need help from his friends. I have a feeling it will go to tomorrow's race to sort the overall title. The Pro-Am Championship, the margin's marginally smaller. It's 11 points, and that's being led by the same man as the outright championship. So Lu Wei ahead of Anthony Liu and Alessio Picariello. Just remember what Anthony said down on the grid, that they have run the first 5 rounds, the first 10 races of this championship, in not this car, but one that had something wrong with its chassis. They finally worked it out. They've got a new chassis, and maybe, just maybe, that will give them a little bit more attack. And they're starting 4th on the grid, be Anthony Liu, followed by Alessio Picariello. So they could pick their way forward. In the silver class, we heard from Frankie Cheng on the grid. He's sharing with a fellow Chinese racer, Adelie Fong. They have a 10-point margin, so slightly harder for them to try and land it today. They'd have to finish in the silver class. Well, if they finish 3rd or higher, it could be theirs. Tricky still. In the AM class, it's Davo Chiptobiantoro. He's got a 35-point advantage. That's the one most likely to go in the bag. He needs Ben Porter and Andrew McPherson to have a nightmare, a non-finish, and to win the class himself in sort of many ways, but it's really nearly there. I mean, he could finish 2nd or 3rd in class, and that would be enough today. And then China Cup, it's the same as silver. It's Adelie Fong and Frankie Cheng at the top of that. So for all these drivers, just bear in mind, the championship leader, Lu Wei, is starting 7th. The driver who's immediately ahead of him when the grid goes in 2x2 formation is his teammate Bob Yuan, who's 2nd in the championship, starting 5th today. But the driver who's 3rd in the title race, Anthony Liu, is in front of both. He's in 4th position. Just remember those positions: 4th, 5th and 7th on the grid. Wyan Chen and James Yu, 1st and 2nd on the grid in their Ferrari and Audi alike, will just be hoping that those behind them are so busy just focusing on each other that they want to get away. And maybe Frankie Chen Kongfu can also get away from 3rd on the grid with all those championship runners lining in behind. And maybe a fly in the ointment could be Andre Canard and his young German teammate Finn Gersitz, because their Ferrari, entered by Absolute Corsa, is starting 6th, right in the middle of that championship battle. It's not normally racing right there with them, and maybe that Ferrari will just get ahead, but Anthony Liu will be doing everything to keep it behind him and to try and pick off one of the 3 crews in front of him, because he's last year's champion. At the moment, he's 19 points down on Louvet. That is a lot with 50 to play for, but I wonder if it's all going to be sorted out on the opening lap of this race. Most likely overtaking positions into turn 1. We're approaching turn 13. It's the end of the turn 14 at the end of the long straight. That's the next most likely place. You do occasionally get passing manoeuvres into turn 5. Remember, turns 1, potentially 5, and into this corner, turn 14. That's where the action is all going to happen. We're coming to the end of the second of the formation laps, and the clock has already started counting. Unfortunately, the 99 Ferraris, it doesn't look as though it's going to be starting from the pit lane exit, because it's been wheeled back into the Harmony Racing garage. That is a shame, but still a remarkably strong grid. 31 cars, and just remember, the top 3 cars in the championship, in the overall drivers' battle, are starting 4th, 5th and 7th on this grid. The championship leader is starting in the purple Porsche, number 4, just coming into your shot now. Right, through turn 15 we go, up to the final corner. That left-hander onto the start-finish straight. Nobody can overtake anybody in front of them until they get to the start-finish line, but it's a question of, okay, lights out on the pace car, that peels off. So for our pole sitter, Yan Chen in the red Ferrari, number 77, and James Yu Kwai alongside him, the number 41 Audi, waiting to watch the lights on the gantry. A lot of cars still coming through that final corner. Don't expect a quick flick. I suggest that the Ferrari's got about half a car length advantage. They should be side by side. Looks like it's going to be a better start from James Yu. Perhaps the hold has to wait until the lights go from red to green. Who's got the hammer down? Unfortunately, Climax Racing has been pushed from behind. Their Mercedes has spun round. Let's hope that doesn't lead to a red flag. Can that be cleared up? Can it get going? But James Yu into the lead. Yan Chen right across the nose of Frankie Chen Kung Fu. This could be good news for Anthony Liu, trying to go around the outside, but it's a long way round to Bob Yuan in the white and green Porsche having a look as well. Maybe he can get that was unfortunate for Anthony Liu. In his attempt to get into 3rd place, he's fallen back to 5th. He's got the championship leader right in behind. That's Louvet, and the 2nd place car in the championship made the best of the start of the championship challenges. It's the green and white Porsche in 4th place, but James Yu is doing what he's very good at doing, getting up on his hooves and running away from the field. Louvet trying to get the pressure on Anthony Liu. Anthony will be furious for not getting that move into 3rd place, but it's a much longer run around the outside. But the first 2 cars doing what I thought they might do, escaping. In this case, it's James Yu in the lead of the race, and pole sitter Yan Chen back to 2nd. No success penalty for any of the top runners. The first car with a success penalty is a 888 Mercedes Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim, which started down in 8th position. That will have an extra 10 seconds to serve at its mandatory pit stop, so really don't expect anything from that crew today. It will cost them big time. They could lose, with an extra 10 seconds, they could lose 15 places. Right, this is the view. Championship leader, also leading the Pro-Am title battle, Louvet. He's got last year's champion, Anthony Liu, in his sights, who in turn has got the driver who's placed 2nd in the overall title race, Bob Yuan, just in front of him. And that is, well, it's been moved across the track. Is there a gap in the pit wall that's going to open up? This is the unfortunate Climax Racing Zhongwei Wang's car that was given a push from behind. Who was immediately behind him on the grid? Chris Cheer, was that necessarily? And we got the sign for the safety car. Not surprising. They moved it from one side of the track to the other, but it's always tricky with a rolling start. They're anticipating, they're all looking up at the lights, and you don't want to be marginally slow when the first driver puts the foot down. And you frequently can get contact, and when you push from behind as you're accelerating, just if the car isn't completely square behind you, you are going to spin around. Right, the drivers have slowed right down. They've spotted the waved yellow flag. They'll spot the board that says SC, and for those who are looking ahead, they'll see the black and green Mercedes. It was spun onto the grass verge on the right of our screens, but has been got going again as far as towards the pit wall. You can see it was hit in the the right rear corner from the driver's point of view, which naturally spins the car to the left, and you can see a bit of bodywork on the other side of the track. Oh dear, number 13 Porsche, that was the car that potentially clumped into it, but that's gone round as well somewhere further around the circuit. Chris Cheers had a rotation as well. Race start is under investigation. That is standard procedure, by the way. There is how damaged is it? Well, Chris Cheer will be looking on, but the front end of that number 13 Phantom Global Racing Porsche, they haven't had the best meeting so far. The sister car qualified at the back of the grid because Vuitton Interfuvasac went off, and it does seem that damaged itself, hitting the back of this Climax Racing Mercedes. Now hopefully they can get the dolly jacks under the car, they can go through the gap in the wall. That's okay. Let's take a look at the restart. Very square at the front, waiting. It was a long hold for all the cars to get on the start finish straight, waiting for those lights on the gantry to go from red to green, and oh well, One car certainly going very quickly was Chris Cheer, and definitely minding his own business. Was the driver starting 10, Zhongwei Wang, and seen from the front side, all the cars in line astern as they should be, and then any second now. Well, what happened? I think the Climax Racing Mercedes went slightly towards the grandstand side and potentially spotting what was a gap that looked like it was going to be opening. Sort of see how enticing it was for Chris Cheer. So he started accelerating to where a gap may be, but he was accelerating sooner than the car in front, therefore closed, therefore hit and spun it round. So hopefully, behind the safety car, not running clearly at full racing speed, it gives enough time. The good lap time around here is just north of 2 minutes, just more than 2 minutes. That may give enough for the Climax Racing Mercedes to be wheeled through the gap in the wall. And for Zhongwei Wang, that's really very frustrating indeed, because you know, clearly looking forward to having a good result. The car will start from pole position, but for the Chinese driver wanting to shine on her ground, they got the car into the garage. Don't know how much damage there actually is to it, but maybe, just maybe, it can be repaired, at least come out and get track time during the race. But any hope of points for them out of the window for now. They're running in the Pro-Am group. So he started second on the grid. James Yu got a better getaway on that rolling start and is leading the field around. The safety car still leading the field. Now in the Pro-Am class, the best placed car in that category is this one. It started fourth in the hands of Anthony Liu, champion from last year. That's why it's got a number 1 on the door of this Absolute Racing Porsche. This is a brand new chassis for Day. He hoped for good things, but being competitive, he tried to go around the outside to get into third, but turn 1 into turn 2 makes it a very long outside line, and suddenly the inside was gapped in, spotted, and Bob Yuan dived in. Let's take a look at the field. Safety car in at the end of this lap. That's very good news indeed. Bear in mind, you've got a pit window in the middle of the race, and it looks as though they've been signalled. The safety car is in. Okay, here we are. Turn 14, it's the hairpin. What James Yu did, he wanted the safety car to be far and gone. Safety car is in this lap, so all those marshals holding the SC board should remove them. No overtaking until the start-finish line, but it was the speed of getaway there from James Yu, rocketing away from Wyan Chen, and further back, a couple of drivers almost trying to go in the pits inadvertently, including Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim. That was wide and did well to get out of the gravel trap there. But for our race leader, brilliant start to the start of the race and to the restart. So we've got Frankie Cheng in third place, still second place by our pole starter Wyan Chen. But James Yu is looking just as though he's going to have one of those days. In a good way. Bob Yuan slightly off the tail of Frankie Chen Kung Fu, last year's champion. In behind, standing out in bright yellow and red, which is Anthony Liu. Right, are we going to get round this lap without any further mishap? Car running in 6th place is this year's championship leader, Liu Wei. And in behind, nice, neat, as I say, neat and tidy, the car that we're about to see going into the gravel on the restart, having another moment. And it really was a case that it was the second of the 2 Mercedes that went into the gravel there. And that was... It was Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim, and you see some of the others further back. It seems to be if you're in a Mercedes, you take to the gravel in turn 16, but all have got through. Frankie Chen Kung Fu now starting to put the pressure on the Harmony Racing Ferrari, and that is even better news from our race leader, James Yu. He's escaping. He wants the Ferrari driver, Wyan Chen, to be engaged, and I think he most certainly will. And likewise, you can expect that Bob Yuan, the 87 Porsche from Origine Motorsport, is going to be put under pressure because... Right, we're having a look at the pressure being applied, and who's applying it? It's Anthony Liu, car number 1. And again, riding on board, we've got 5 on-board cameras this weekend. Clearly this was going to be one of the cars carrying it, and the long run from turn 13, it's 1 kilometre and more, all the way down to the hairpin at the far end. Who's going to be early on the brakes? Is it going to be Bob Yuan in front, or is it going to be Anthony Liu? Not likely to make an well, I didn't think he'd look for an overtaking manoeuvre, but that's not to count how competitive. There was a little bit of a slipstream. He just gained towards the end of the straight, picked up a tiny bit of aerodynamic toe, and Bob Yuan, I think at that point thought, oh, I'm not going to contest this because we could suddenly have 2 of us off into the gravel, or more to the point, me. So Anthony Liu, 3rd in the championship, has just moved ahead of Bob Yuan, who's 2nd in the championship, and the championship leader Liu Wei is in behind. So orange and red Porsche, or red and yellow and red really, and then the green and white Porsche, that's 2nd in the championship, and the championship leader, bright purple metallic Porsche of Liu Wei. sorting themselves out. 4th, 5th and 6th on the track, but it's James Yu leading by just over a second from Waiyan Chen. So it's Audi from Ferrari, and then a second Audi, that's car number 36, Frankie Chen Kung Fu in 3rd place. Then 1.5 seconds back to the Anthony Liu. Now, can Anthony head off and drop Bob Yuan? I'm sensing that's what he's doing right now. Can he catch up with Frankie Chen? I think he possibly can as well. Let's see this flying lap. Oh, no interruptions so far. Fastest lap on the board. Clearly it's going to be set by the race leader because he's pulling clear. And that's James Yu. So his teammate Akash Nandi will be hopping up and down in the pit garage. And I think James will stay out as long as he possibly can. He's in the silver class. Had a car just entering the pit lane beneath me. And I think it's Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim. I think it was a 888 Mercedes coming in. Remember, he had the run through the gravel. Maybe he's got a slight braking mishap because... Well, I tell you what, let's go down and hear from the driver who was hit up the tail on the grid, Zhongwei Wang, with Amy.
So it looks like there's a lot of things happening in the pit lane at the moment, but I have Wing here with me. Very unfortunate hit from behind on like the start. Are you okay, first of all?
Yes, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm quite okay. And when the lights turns off, I had a really good start. The Mercedes 88 in front of me, he was quite slow, but I have nowhere to go. I slowed down a little bit, so I got hit. I think this is something that very unlucky, right? But luckily we are the pole for tomorrow, so it's okay. Work for me, yeah.
As you mentioned tomorrow, is the car fixable?
All right.
Is the car fixable?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I guess for the Mercedes, we have a lot of parts here, and it's not a big damage, so I think it will be fine. Yeah.
Let's look forward to tomorrow then, and rest well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy, and that was Zhongwei Wang. And it was interesting because I thought his start looked normal, but I didn't realise he'd been slightly tripped up. He reckons the 888 Mercedes, Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim was slightly slow. He had to slightly lift, but it certainly looked as though the number 13 Porsche was on the move very quickly from behind. Chris Chia and Contact pushed him out of the race, but very sanguine, so well done for keeping a level head. But also, it does help if you know your car's on pole positions to tomorrow race. And that's when Ralph Aron, his teammate, who set that pole time, will hopefully, from his point of view, pull clear for climax racing and then hand the car over to Wang Zhongwei tomorrow, and he can see how he can do. But right now the driver doing best is the driver of the number 141 Audi, but actually suddenly James Yu is being caught by the pole sitter Waiyan Chen. Waiyan's managed to drop Frankie Chen Kung Fu, and he's just gained 0.8 of a second in one lap on, sorry, 0.4 of a second in one lap on our race leader around this 16-turn circuit. Anthony Liu, I thought he might be able to start catching Frankie Chen Kung Fu. Quite the reverse. In fact, the first 3 cars pulling away from that trio of championship challenging Porsches in behind. Let's hold this shot for a second and then, yeah, okay, Anthony Liu, red and yellow Porsche. He's in 4th place. Can he catch this time around? He's just put a bit of clear air between himself and Bob Yuan. Yes, I did hear a Mercedes come in. It's inimitable engine rumble from the mighty Mercedes AMG, but unfortunately it looks as though 888 have parked it for today. We had that off-track moment for Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim. Tomorrow, Michael Grenier will be starting the race for them. Let's see how they can get on, but clearly there may be an issue with that car, at least for today's 1-hour race. Nothing they can fix in terms of getting it out. Right, battle for the lead. It was 0.6 of a second last lap, and oh, it's all right, the race leader's putting clear. He gained 0.06 of a second. Small increments, I know, but he's stemming the flow at the moment. So James Yu leading the race in the number 41 Audi. Waiyan Chen in behind, Frankie Chen Kung Fu almost matching them for pace, but they're still pulling away from the Porsches in behind. And Anthony Liu just set his fastest lap of the race in 4th place, but lost ground to Frankie Chen. He's 2.5 seconds down in 4th place. But this lead battle is really starting to shake up very nicely. James Yu doing his utmost in the early point of the lap. Now, further round the orders, he's going to the first corner, uphill corner. That's turn 1. At this point, the Porsche centre Okazaki Porsche manages to negotiate that, then you start dropping down sharply into turn 3, and then you start moving away from the back of the paddock. Now, talking of moving away, I'm just starting to sense the fact that James Yu's had a good start to this lap. He only has an advantage of 0.6 of a second, nearly 0.7 of a second. Red and yellow slippery surface warning flag. So have we had a spin This is turn 16, final corner. Looking at Licker Lu. Oh, dearie me, I'm afraid how to do your braking. Crack into the back of a rival, background of the shot. And dearie me, that was number 88, Jeffrey Lee's car being given a clatter up the rear, so that would drop it right down the order. It was already down towards the back a little bit anyhow for Jeffrey Lee, so his teammate Max Schigertz, when he gets into the car, it won't be quite as much of a car as it could have been, and it will be at the back of the pack. Talking at the front of the pack though, actually on that long run down to turn 14, it was better from Wyan Chen. He got into the slipstream and used the toe to get right on the tail of the race leader. This is 4th overall, leading car in Pro-Am, also placed 3rd in the overall title battle in this, the penultimate race at the final round. But importantly, he's dropping the 2 cars behind him, who were the drivers ahead of him in the championship. And Louvet, 125 points. As it stands in this position, what Anthony Liu is doing, he's closed the gap between his car and Bob Yuan's car. It was 3 points between them before the start of the race. If they finish as they are, it will come down to just 1 point between them going to the final race, with 25 points up for grabs. But it must be said, running around in 6th place overall, but 3rd in on the track of the title challenges. That's sort of fine for the number 4 Porsche. Louvet, he can keep them in sight, because as it stands, he would start tomorrow's final race at this doubleheader final round with a 14-point advantage. That's pretty tidy, because 25 for first, 18, 15. He'd really need to finish in the top 3 tomorrow to be absolutely sure, regardless of whether his rivals go on to win the race. Tall order perhaps, but he's in 6th position at the moment. In fact, none of these, if they finish as they are, of our championship challengers, would pick up success penalty for tomorrow, so they'd have no deficit. There's a mandatory minimum pit stop time. And then if you have success penalty by finishing in the top 3 positions the previous race, you either serve extra 15 seconds, yes, night and day, if you finish first, 10 seconds extra at your pit stop if you finish 2nd today, and 5 seconds if you finish 3rd. So actually, does Anthony Liu want to get up into 3rd position overall? Perhaps not. It could give him a marginal increase in points. He'll gain 3 extra points, because you get 12th for 4th, 15 for 3rd, but he'd have 5 seconds extra at the pit stop. They'll have to do the maths, and suddenly Louvet's being given a bit of a challenge, because Andre Canard, a driver who has been known by other names in previous years, but racing now under the flags of the Philippines, in that battle for 6th overall. They've all come round and seen the red and yellow slippery surface warning elements. You can see, talking of elements, parts of the number 88 Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes still scattered in the gravel trap at the final corner. You can see more bodywork. I presume that came off the car as it went further up the straight, because it's not from the Climax Racing. Oh, well. Okay, championship outright leader has just rubbed sides, and the last thing he wanted, I said just run around in 6th place overall, you'll pick up the points. Now he's got rear end damage. Andre Canard dived up the inside, they clashed. That was not part of the dream ticket, and that car's going to have to come into the pit lane. Oh, just when things were looking cool, calm and collected for Origine Motorsport and for their championship leader. Came here with a 16-point margin, was healthy. Just to pick up a handful of points would have been great for him today. He knew 5th place or higher, even if his rivals didn't score, was going to be enough. But this is, you're looking at 0 points today. The pendulum on the clock has really swung away from Louvet. Lauren Heinrich, pacing around in the background, will be beside himself. He was going to take over as early as he possibly could, but in fact he's not really going to have a car to take over. That is awful news. I'd like to take a look at the replay, because Andre Canard dived up the inside into turn 1. I was thinking he's not close enough to make a move. A move was made, and Louvet could not get out of the way. Here he is. He's looking at a margin of, well, you're talking actually 0.363 of a second, as I reckon. Went a little bit wide to take the perfect line in the corner. Andre Canard was coming, come what may. At that point, he was committed, and Louvet had nowhere to go. There was a clash. The Ferrari seems possibly to have got away scot-free, but he's damaged the right rear corner of the championship leader's car, and the championship leader, after the end of this race, quite possibly will not be the championship leader. It's going to be so much closer come tomorrow, but it was all going according to plan for Origin Motorsport and for Louvet, and right now that plan has been scrumpled up and thrown into the bin, and that is under investigation. Another incident under investigation is a clatter between the treble 8 Mercedes, that's the one that's in the Garrett Prince in Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim's car that's in the garage, and 911, which was started by Ishan Pires. Those will be up, but I think the stewards will be quite busy on those two. Meanwhile, as they say at the front of the race, it's James Yu Kwai still leading, but the margin has been cut from 0.6 of a second to just 0.3. And clearly Harmony Racing have got that 296 Ferrari sorted very well. Not only did it take pole position, but that was as much about timing a lap when they had the stop-start session, and right at the end, he managed to take pole position. Sort of almost as if from nowhere. We were looking at all the fancied runners, but the sister car for the Harmony Racing team was having all sorts of problems, brought out 2 red flags with a steering wheel issue. That's why it was so interrupted, but he delivered pole position, and right now he's looking very good. But the early part of the lap is where the Audi seems a little bit better, and maybe just by dint of getting close enough coming out of turn 13. The Ferraris seem to be very, very good down that long back straight. And of course that's rather important, particularly if you're close enough to a rival. You've got the extra speed, so it seems. They seem very, very sleek down the back straight. And then, if you can catch the toe, you can multiply that, and that is what Wyan Chen has been doing. Right. Okay, here we go. Car 4 is back in the pit garage and damaged, and also going to visit the pits is the car that clattered into it. So a drive-through penalty issued for Andre Canard for hitting the championship leader. Louvet will be gutted. I think that's a medical term. If not, it is now. Right, here we go. The slipstream is being used. James Yu can do nothing. He's just not wanting to commit to the inside to the corner because that's the slower line, but the Ferrari in second place not quite close enough. Let's have a look. Best laps. Wyan Chen in second place is the fastest driver on lap speed in this race by a whisker from the race leader, James Yu. You can see, well, it's it's a third of a second. Actually, that's quite a lot. Frankie Cheng, who's running third on the track, is third fastest, and Anthony Liu, who's running fourth, is fourth fastest. Andre Canard is going to visit the pit for a drive-through penalty, has the 5th best lap time this way. That's why he was close enough to Lu Wei to consider making a manoeuvre, but the officials have judged that was a bad thing. Oh, he did pick up damage with a clatter. I was quite surprised if he hadn't. So 2 cars clashing, and you can turn that drive-through penalty to a drive and park. Right, what's happening down here? Plenty of action with Hirabon in the back in the Team Gojigan Nissan. Up front row, there's the part of the lap where the early first half of the lap where James Yu seems to be quicker in the Audi, but he definitely has a deficit down that long back straight. So we've gone into Fuvasak, 93 Porsche, taking a look at Hirabon. Brian Lee up ahead in the metallic blue, great looking livery. I do like that GTO Racing livery. Right, this is the view of that battle. This is seen as we go over the crest of the slope at turn 2, then drop down and track sort of cups the cars as they go through turn 3. You can see just up in front Brian Lee having to adjust the steering as the car's slipping around, trying to accelerate before you've got all the grip. This is the battle for 5th place in the Silver Am class, and up to turn 5, braking heavy. Now, pit window is open, and immediately we've got the number 2 Audi in. That's sensible, because that's one of the cars that has got a very quick co-driver, Dylan Pereira, 2022 Porsche Super Cup champion in Europe, normally in a Porsche. In fact, I'm not sure I've seen him in anything else, but not for quite a few years. He's taken over from Bo Hu. Up front, it's the same sketch every lap. Top 5 cars in scene. Of course, we in previous laps would have had the number 4 Porsche in the background of the shot, but after being assaulted and out of the race, it's just the top 5 on that long back straight. Then a little bit of a gap, and the next car will be Bian Yi, the number 6 Lamborghini from VSR, but that has success penalty. That had 15 seconds at its pit stops. That'll drop that out of the picture. So the first 5 cars getting away nicely. The gap last time around was 0.577 of a second between James Yu and Wyan Chen. This time it's come down by a tiny fraction. It's 0.561. So really very level pedding. This is the number 6 Lamborghini. Bian Yi probably coming in. Yeah, I thought he'd come in as soon as he could to hand over to Eduardo Liberati, and others have come in as well. Anthony Liu has come in, and Bob Yuan, who seemed to have closed up a little bit in the last lap or 2. That could be important, because Anthony was getting away from Bob, but Bob has tucked in behind, close enough to start using a bit of a slipstream, a bit of a toe down that long straight from turn 13 to 14. Right, none of these cars in shot, apart from the bright green Lamborghini, have got success penalty. They will have to meet that minimum time from pit in to pit out, and of course there'll be someone in the crew, some team member with a stopwatch letting them know exactly when they need to get going. The time for a pit stop is generous enough for all 4 tyres to be changed without having to gamble too much. Team Gojigan, Hirabon, their races run only as far as the first driver is concerned. He will hop out and then Yu Kanemaru will take over. Right, Bob Yuan, car number 87, Origine Motorsports, and Leo Yi will take over, also known as Leo Yi Hong Li. GTO Racing, Brian Lee out. And that means, therefore, Hideto Yasuoka will take it over. But cars looking clean, no damage, having to be pushed back, presumably just to get a better exit. Did he stop in front of the wrong garage? Anyhow, let's take a look. Oh, is this one having a problem as well, or not? Let's hope we're not stacking all the problems into Origin Motorsport, because their championship leader, Louve, is in. The Hirabon car is having to be pushed back for Yu Kanemaru to get a better exit as well. No, I think there's no particular drama for either of those. So sitting, waiting, right, get the signal. When can you go? Team member will be letting them know that now is the time. Right, these two cars, the number 1 Porsche and the 87 Porsche, now in the hands of Alessio Picariello, that's the number 1, and Leo Yi Hong Li. Looks very even, the gap between them before the pit stop and after. This is last year's championship winner's car, Anthony Liu. He's played his part in this battle. He lost ground on the first corner, first into second corner, lost a position, is picking up. And Elegant Racing's number 3, that's Lika Liu, a drive-through penalty for that minor misdemeanor, overtaking under the safety car, but his co-driver can't blame him because there is no co-driver. Lika Liu is driving that one solo, but he'll be enjoying the experience apart from that little issue with the safety car procedure. And the 911 Porsche, that had a clatter early on. That incident was under investigation, and clearly it's going to be running a little bit at the light end of the scale now, with missing both its front wings. Tanart Sati and Tirikul, the Thai racer, taking it over. Good thing this isn't a night race, no headlights to be seen on that one. Sort of customised version of the car. Fastest lap of the race, for your reference, still in the hands of Wai Chen. That was set early on, the car that you're looking at now. Number 77, second place in the race, started on pole, but a really good start from James Yu, who's really pushing there. You could just see the sideways motion of the car. He's trying to keep it in check, get all the grip he could out of his Pirelli rubber, but he's certainly troubling the sidewalls a little bit there. Mind you, for him, those tyres only have to last maybe one more lap. We're working our way through the pit window. Oh, cars 13 and 22 have both been pinged for a full start. Number 13 was Chris Chia, who clattered into the back of 22, but in turn, in fact, we sort of had a semi-admission from Wang Zhongwei that he sort of made a good start, but the car in front hadn't. So maybe he hadn't made a good start. It was just the car in front hadn't got going because it was too soon. So they both got false start punishments, but doesn't really matter too much if you're in the pit lane. Right, number 36, this is Adderley Fong. He's taken it over from Frankie Chen Kongfu, who was running in third. They're leading the Silver Cup. They're leading the China Cup. In the China Cup, it's very close with Bob Yuan and Leo Yi Hong Li. Just 4 points. We might have to get onto that later. This is the battle for first. This is the first attempted look for lap after lap. Wai Chen has been quite content to just sit behind and put pressure on James Yu, who's coming to the pits. Nah, neither of them didn't think they would. 0.529 of a second between them last time around. That was the first proper look we've had this time. It's almost identical. 0.553 of a second between first and second on the road. James Yu continues to lead the way. Quite a few other drivers working their way up the order, but the main reason for that is they have not served their pit stops. I think we've got about 8 crews that haven't served their pit stops. Another one of the VSR Lamborghinis gets underway just as one pops into the background of the shot, but in fact that was number 63, I believe, coming in to serve its penalty. So how's it going to stack up after the pit stops? We've got James Yu from Wai Chen, first 2, then suddenly up to third position. Comes car number 66, the other Climax Racing car, Hu Yuki at the wheel, and then Ben Porter has risen to 4th from, I think it was 13th on the grid, but that's also because he has not served a pit stop. And let's see next time around which of the challengers is going to be in the lead for those that have served their pit stops. Here they come again, first part of the lap again, coming out of turn 10. Up to 11 and 12 is our race leader James Yu. Wai Chen tucked in behind, fairly stalemate. I mean, there was that look last time around, wasn't too serious for Wai Chen. Maybe just something to try and unsettle James Yu, make him brake a little bit late and run on down at turn 14 at the hairpin, but not quite enough. James Yu's got his focus up front. And his teammate Akash Anandi waiting to get a go to play. Haven't seen too much of this car. Lili Chow and Heng Min. Car number 52 from Climax Racing. Rather nice pale blue and white race livery for them, and undamaged, unlike a few of the other cars. Pit window continues to be open for another 7 minutes or so, and it's really your choice. They're coming in now. No, one of them's coming in now. So James Yu comes in, he blinks first. Wyan Chen continues on his way for his teammate for the 77 Ferrari from Harmony Racing, Liang Jiatong. We'll have to wait a little bit longer, but James Yu coming on in. Akash Nandi, no, not sitting and waiting, he'll be standing and waiting to pounce, but you don't have to have too fast a pit stop. You've got a minimum pit stop time. You should be able to make it without rushing too much, which is a very, very sensible element. But the Malaysian teammate Akash Nandi be waiting to do what you have to do. Pop those seat belts up and over. In Europe, one of the teams actually uses a special sort of magnetic element. So the car that came in from the front runners, the first one to pit, was this car we're looking at. So we call him the pit leader. This is Adderley Fong. Took over from Frankie Cheng Kong Fu, started the race in third, ran the race in third up to the pit stops. He's ostensibly the leader, but of course we're waiting for those top two both to have served their pit stop. The number 41 is still in the pits. That came in from the lead. And the 77 Ferrari continued on its way, but Wyan Chen, well, he's still got time to stay on out, but it's where they slot in ahead of these three cars. So the 36 Audi is the first of those that have pitted, now in the hands of Adderley Fong. Tucked in behind, Alessio Picariello. And I'm just starting to sense that Liu Yihong Li has lost a second or so since the pit stop. So Alessio doing the job you'd expect from him. They had a rotten meeting at Okayama last time out. Really came away with next to nothing. That's why they came here. Fully 19 points down on the championship leader. But that championship leader, Louvet, is not going to score points today. And if any of these drivers can get up into the lead of the race, they'll pocket 25 points. That is a huge amount. I don't think they're going to do it, because I think this car, now in the hands of Akash Nandi, came in from the lead of the race, and if the Malaysian racer Nandi can really just control things for the next 25 minutes or so, it could be a win from them. And as we heard in Tom Hornsby's excellent description of all that lay ahead of us before this race, is the fact that we've had 10 races so far this year and 9 winners, and that really just puts the point across. Not just is Fanatec GT Asia very competitive, but it's with this success penalty. If you win a race, you're so unlikely to win another, but it keeps everyone on their toes. So there's a mechanic in the pit lane waving a stop board, and by my reckoning, everyone has come in. Yeah, there it is, the last of the cars to pits. Wyan Chen finally coming to position for Harmony Racing. Their garage is down towards the pit exit end of the pit lane. And Liang Jiatong will be popping out. And one of the Mercedes, that's probably the 88 Jeffrey Lee car for Craft Bamboo Racing, just leaving its pit stop. So everybody who can and has come in. The pit window is now closed. So started on pole, lost out on the run to the first corner, ran a very competitive seconds in the hands of Wyan Chen. And is it going to pop out ahead or behind this yellow, black and grey Audi? This led before the pit stops, but only just. And will the number 36 Audi make it an Audi 1-2, or will that Harmony Racing Ferrari pop out into the gap between them? It's really closing up. Lickaloo driving solo in the orange and blue Mercedes in the background, but what I'm seeing right now is Alessio Picariello doing the job that's required of him, getting on the tail of Adderley Fong, coming up to turn 16, final corner of the lap here at the Shanghai International Circuit, and putting pressure on. Now, it's not a long run from their garage at Harmony Racing back out on the track, and he's somehow come out. Well, I don't really understand. I don't think in one lap he gained 5 seconds, but that's about the margin he has ahead of Akash Nandi. Akash wasn't hanging around, so that I'm just wondering if that pit stop might have been a tad on the far side. Otherwise, my eyes have deceived me or not. But right now, therefore, second, third, and fourth in shot, with the race leader just in front, Liang Jiatong, chased by Akash Nandi. Then Adderley Fong leading the Silver Cup, leading the China Cup. And Alessio Picariello, there's the top four, a little bit of a gap, and then Bob Yuan's teammate Liu Yihong Li, the 87 Porsche from Origin Motorsport, green and white, just coming into shot now. There it is, sweeping, looking quite good in the hands of Liu Yihong Li right there. In fact, on that graphic, it goes to show that, yeah, the run down to turn 13, the top of that circuit graphic is the third sector. 87 is the number that's quickest there. This is 87, and it's the Porsche. Oh, Liang Jiatong Well, if you're going to make the move, it's got to come now, and that's now is the moment. Now is exactly the time that Akash Nandi had to seize him, because, of course, with another lap on his Pirelli tyres, his tyres are up to heat, and Alessio Picariello decided overtaking just one person in turn 12 was a bit naff, bit boring, so he's overtaken two, went up the inside. Anthony Liu will be very, very excited in this. Of course, that means if he finishes second in this race, and I reckon he's got the pace to go and win it, that will put 18 points for second place, but he's suddenly realising, hold on, I'll get success penalty. They've got to work out what it's worth. Do I need more points? Do I? The ballast for tomorrow. So many things to work out. But all Alessio Picariello has to do is just back it, and just he's just got to concentrate on what is up ahead. Akash Nandi leads. The gap will be right down as they come over the line. It's going to be about a second, I would reckon, between Nandi and the chasing Picariello. 0.893, 9/10 of a second is all the gap. Now, a lot of penalties are coming up for pit stop penalties being short. Car 89, it's a shame, that's the Team KRC BMW being taken over by Maxi Mouston. They were 1 second short, so coming in to serve penalty for that, that's going to hit them big time. Car 500, that's Hirabon's Team Gojig and Nissan, and car 563, which is it's the A&R with VSR Lamborghini. They're 2 seconds stop and go. So if you a second under your minimum pit stop time, your punishment is huge. You have a second at a standstill, but you've got all the deceleration time into the pits, through the pit lane. Don't speed in the pit lane. So you've thrown your race out of the window. Right, let's focus on what's on track. Akash Nandi leading the race. Second place is the number 1 Porsche Absolute Racing. We heard from the start driver, last year's champion, Anthony Liu, saying all season we've just been having a problem with the car. They've got a new chassis and it's working very, very well. But all along, the thought in my head, this is 18 points in the bag, and if Picariello can win this race, it's 25 points, which will move them ahead of Lu Wei, who can do nothing about it. The championship leader, Lu Wei, in the garage. His number 4 Porsche, damaged, not going to score any points today. However, actually, this is a very, very good graphic to look at. Be a 1 point gap between them. Lu Wei will continue to lead in tomorrow's final race, the 12th race of 2024, the last race of 2024, with just a 1 point margin. However, Anthony Liu and Alessio Picariello will have to serve an extra 10 seconds at their pit stop tomorrow. Oh gosh, it's what they want is for this field almost to close right up. It's probably better to be finishing 5th in this line of car, just a few seconds down. 5th place would mean you get 10 points. 8 points fewer. I don't know. It's so hard. So many things to consider, because 10 seconds extra at your pit stop due to your success penalty in this race. It's going to be so tricky. Right, battle for 3rd. Adderley Fong on the track, chased by Jiatong Lang Jiatong, and then in behind we've got Liu Yihong Li. He doesn't have to worry about success penalties so much. He's well placed in the championship. If he can get up to 4th place overall, it's going to be very tight at the top. And you know, for Lu Wei, he came here and the race was settling down. It was all looking good. I just thought stay in 6th place, and that will really put the pressure on your rivals. Your 16-point margin coming here to Shanghai, that sets you in good stead. And then, of course, absolute coursers Ferrari 296, Andre Kennard up the inside into turn number 1. Both cars damaged, both cars out of the race. So any of the drivers who've got those stop-and-go penalties will be losing ground. One of them's just been served. That's Maxi Mouston in the Team KRC BMW, which has dropped him out of the top 10. Right, let's take a look at the best laps. Best lap of the race is since the pit stops, 2 minutes, 0.7. And that's Liu Yihong Li. He's running in 5th overall. Maxi Goertz has got into the 88 Mercedes, but that's right down towards the back of the pack. We saw that being assaulted. It's down in 23rd position overall, but he's also lap lean between 2 minutes 1. And Alessio Picariello, 2nd on the track, 3rd in terms of pace since they've come back out after the pit stops. Well, let's go down to hear from last year's champion. His name is Anthony Liu. He's with Amy, and he'll tell us about how it is right now.
So here from the wall with Anthony, reigning champion, without the helmet on. It's nice to see your face finally, you know, at the grid. It was with the helmet. Great stint for you. And when Alessio overtook the car, you were screaming your heart out.
I'm a passionate bloke, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but how was your stint? How was the car? It looks like the car is super today.
Yeah, after we changed the chassis, it's like properly performing car finally. So let's see if my teammate can get him. Then we'll be in the lead for the championship heading into tomorrow.
Speaking of the championship, so you get, if it finishes like that, you get a lot of points and the leader of the championship.
Number 4 and 5 ahead of number 87.
What does that mean to you?
Means nothing until we finish the line in front of them tomorrow.
All right, then all the best luck for Sunday as well.
Anthony Liu, very, very focused. You can just sense with every word that there is a lot of pressure right there. But all he wants, well, he's just decided, oh, now that's actually just changed the situation because Liu Yihong Li was 5th, is now 4th. That means he's potentially gaining 2 more points. Put that in the mix, and that's really going to close up the championship battle with Liu Wei scoring nothing today. Not his fault at all, having been assaulted and out of the race. It means the 2 drivers behind are going to get much, much closer. Another 2 points coming their way. It was a huge margin, 16 points advantage for Liu Wei, coming here with 50 points to play for. But his championship rivals are sitting 2nd and 4th in this race, so the whole matrix is changing. Great one for mathematicians and with people sitting at home with an abacus or a more modern contraption. But Akash Nandi does not want to leave the race, but one driver who has, unfortunately, is the driver of car number 63, and that is young racer Ethan Brown sitting in the gravel at the final corner. You can see various bits of bodywork, maybe not even his actually, in the gravel there. In fact, I think those are from the Mercedes who ran there earlier, but that is beach. It's going nowhere. Yellow flag at turn 16. Right, just remember the order. Nandi, Picari yellow, Fong, Liang and Yi all in shot there. In fact, in a slightly different order because Liu Yihong Li moved into 4th and Zhang Liatong has dropped to 5th. But are we going to have a safety car? Well, that is removed. A lot of gravel from where the cars have run through at the final corner, looking for any messages coming up. Can they get that car away? It's sort of blind. The drivers coming into the final corner can see the waved yellow flag in the back, in the foreground from their point of view. They'll be alerted to the fact that there may be something around the final corner. They won't see it and get to it until right here. This is the corner. Final corner of the track. Waved yellow flags there. Are we going to get a safety car? Prepare for full course yellow, FCY. Then they have to drop to a mandatory maximum speed. Suddenly the sound of the racing engines drops down and their pace accordingly. So it means nobody should gain any position. They all have to run at the same maximum speed, which is very abated. There it is, FCY, full course yellow. And they should be able to get the car out. In fact, you can see the telltale skid marks in the background. The driver has gone into the gravel trap and rotated it around. What's he got on the black stuff? But coming backwards. Were they pushed? Well, that's the Ferrari in 5th place overall. See, all the drivers on a normal line run a little bit wide. In fact, I'm just looking there. That's the corner of the end of turn 10. This is turn 16, so full course yellow, the message sent out from race control as Ethan Young's car is sitting in the gravel. That hopefully shouldn't be too difficult to remove. Ethan Yang Brown sharing with Daniel Bilski. Daniel did the first pass of the race, driver from Hong Kong, but that Lamborghini, well, there you have it. That's in at pretty unabated pace there, but that's why the tarmac is so good beyond the gravel. You don't get bogged on the tarmac, but it does slow you down. So here are the first 2 cars on the track. Better have a look at how much time is left. Under 14 minutes remain. We've still got the full course yellow period, still waiting for that to be withdrawn. But Akash Nandi knows that the second it gets the restart, he'll watch for the signal. He's got to control the restart, and Alessio Picariello is going to go for it. Right, with Liu Yihong Li having gained a position, look how close it's going to be tomorrow. 1 point margin if they finish as they are over Alessio Picariello and Anthony Liu. Liu Yihong Li just 3 points further back. 4 points covering the top 4 cars. Just going to run over the championship points. If you win, you get 25 and your rival gets 18. So any of these crews, if they win tomorrow's race, they will take the title. It's as simple as that, because it means someone coming in 2nd place will get 7 points fewer. But I'm very aware the driver of number 1, Anthony Liu, he's going to try and take the 25 points to give him a points advantage going into the final round. But any of the top 3 positions come with a penalty, extra time served in their mandatory pit stop in the middle of the race. But as we've seen today, if you can put points in the bag, in the bank, in this race, the first race, Who knows what's going to happen in the second race? As we've seen for Louvet, the championship leader, he was sitting pretty, got assaulted, knocked out of the race, 0 points today. So suddenly his 16-point margin currently, and he can do nothing about it, is down to just 1 point over Anthony Liu and Alessio Picariello, and just 4 points over his teammates Bob Yuan and Liu Yihong Li. Under full course yellow, it's possibly not a good idea to hit the car in front, but certainly the GTO Racing Porsche is getting very, very close. That's Yasuoka to the tail of Zhu's Climax Racing number 66 Mercedes. All eyes, obviously they want to get the restart right, but they should be running at identical pace, so no one should be gaining any position on the circuit, any margin. Licker Lu coming down here, he's one of the drivers who had to serve a bit of a penalty for misdemeanors and safety car procedures. Full course yellow continues, but I don't know that it's going to last a whole lot more. Looking at this view down from turn 13 to turn 14, it looks a short straight. I can assure you it absolutely is not. And it does mean if you come out of that long right-hander, turn 13, and get close enough to a car that's even at a slight distance in front, you ought to be able to gain enough of a tow to be pulled all the way down towards its tail into turn 14, and then it's your zone of warfare potentially. That's a very, very good overtaking position. Leader in the AM class is that number 66 Mercedes. It certainly qualified pretty well today. So again, still the FCY boards held around the circuit, still the waved yellow flags. The marshals trying to impart as much information as they possibly can, but the clock continues to count down. It's a 1 hour race. We have just under 11 minutes remaining. It's a question of how many racing laps we get to play with. The lights on the gantry are still indicating that it's not green. Now I think the lights are out on the roof, and suddenly they do flick. We're going, yeah, the lights around the edge of the circuit have gone from flashing to flashing green, and this is the moment for Alessio Picariello to pick off Akash Nandi, but Akash going through turn 6 and 7 behind the paddock. Where would you make the move? The answer quite simply is going to be into turn 14. Good exit from turn 13 is what Alessio Picariello is going to hope for in the number 1 Porsche. If he can go from second in this race to first, that will give him a 7-point swing. It'll mean he'll start tomorrow's race 6 points clear of Louvet. But I expect Li Yihong Li to move up another position, and if he can do that, he'll gain 3 points. So these are going to be great fun for the mathematicians. Really good exit onto the long back straight for our leader Akash Nandi. Right, toes just about started to come into play. Not close enough for Alessio Picariello. That must have been a brilliant exit from turn 13 for the Audi to get its power down the accelerator way. I thought they'd be much closer. I thought that was the point at which the move would come. That is real credit to Akash Nandi. So in the pit lane, James Yu would be standing in the cool of the pit garage, not feeling cool at all. 9.5 minutes remain. The gap between first and second, just under half a second. Right, along to turn 1 we go. Alessio Picariello all season, he and his teammate Anthony Lewis said there's been a problem with the car. They've got a new chassis this weekend, and it certainly looks as though the problems are behind them. But right now the focus is, can Akash Nandi go through turn 3 without losing too much position? Around the twisty parts of the circuit, the Porsche actually looks a little bit better than the Audi, but the slightly more open corners, the Audi has certainly been driven very well by Akash Nandi. This is the view, second to first. Turn 5, longish right-hander, then you sweep back, you've got the giant grandstands ahead of them, looking for turn 6. Wonderful sweeping sector of the track. Yeah, that Audi's looking really nicely balanced. Picariello balancing on the throttle in behind in second place. That's what a half-second gap looks like through the windscreen of the chasing car, and then from the outside, from the various cameras around this twisting circuit. 16 turns. Right, turn 10 is where you want to get a really good exit. This is turn 10, and actually slightly better from that corner from the chasing Alessio Picariello. Got to get close, but it's not so much here into turn 11. It's on the exit of turn 13. Because if you're close enough there, then you can use it all the way down the back straight. Slightly wider line from the race-leading Audi. Maybe that's what he did last time. But let's go back down to the pit lane. Bob Wan is down there, the number 87 Origin Motorsport Porsche garage. His car in Liu Yi is in 4th.
So Bob, sorry, I don't want to keep you away from the screen too much, but the championship looks super tight today, and we're going to go to tomorrow. As it stands, it's only 1 point difference to the number 1 car with you.
Sorry, I can't hear you clearly.
So the championship is quite tight, and as it stands for now, it's 1 point difference with the number 1 car for you going to tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my teammate got crashed by someone, so right now maybe the standing point is quite tight. But to be honest, this is not really good action. As teammate, I feel so sorry for Liu Wei. Yeah, it's not good. But looking forward tomorrow, I think yeah, it should be a tight fighting compared with Andoni and Liu and me. But hopefully we can safely finish the race first, and not like do something, you know. Then let's see the result.
Despite the hit today, Wei Lu also has still possibilities, so it will be a fight tomorrow. And I wish you all the best luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. Bob Yuan there. His car in the hands of Liu Yihongli has set the fastest lap since the pit stops, but is dropping away. This lead duo of Akash Nandi and Alessio Picariello, they controlled the restart very well. They ran through that full course yellow, but since then they've really got away. And Adderley Fong holding down 3rd position. That's the car that leads the Silver Cup overall, but not in the race. We've got a silver duo at the front. It's Akash Nandi and the driver who can do nothing about it right here, right now, because he's in the pit garage, James Yu. Their Audi has led pretty much every lap of the race. Of course, you have the little moments around the time of the pit stops, but that brilliant move to take the lead from the outside of the front row has worked well for James Yu. Looks though Akash Nandi, with 6 minutes remaining on the clock, who's just going to do enough. I just wonder if Alessio Picariello's decided, I'll take 7 points fewer today, but have 5 seconds less pit stop penalty tomorrow. I don't know. I simply don't know. The Audi's been so good down this long back straight to this point to turn 14, under braking every time. Of course, the second car looks though it's closing up. It's roughly half a second between them. Last time it was half a second. In the background of the shot, Adderley Fong won't win the Silver Cup class today, but will add some very useful points to his championship pot. But there really is going to be no change, I don't think, from the next 3 positions. Adderley Fong looks safe in 3rd position. Car 87, Liu Yihongli, we just heard from his teammate Bob Yuan, looks safe in 4th, and likewise 5th place looks for the pole starting Ferrari to be safe as well. Right, most places gained. 93 has certainly had a belting race from final position on the grid. Didn't get a set of time for Vutagon into Fufusak, but Joel Ericsson's been having a lot of fun. Just a mere 22 positions gained in this 32 car field. I think that's probably going to be the record for the season. Might have still got tomorrow to come. There it is, actually being challenged very hard indeed by the Folgas Motorsport Porsche. So you've got to find your fun where you can. And in fact, that's a place gained. In fact, Ericsson has gained another position. 22 positions gained. Forget it. Try 23. So we're looking at the back of the car that's gained 23 positions from its latest victim. And the Folgas Motorsport car in the hands of Jaehyun Kim has just gone from 8th to 9th. Right, haven't talked too much about the AM class. Right, Christian Colombo will win a title today. No, he won't. In fact, Christian Colombo is driving. David Chipto Beer and Toro is the driver who has more points because he's done all the races, and he'll watch on, and he'll be, I think, the only person today who will land a title. He had a very tidy margin of 35 points in the bag. It's only 25 points for victory, but by being neat and tidy, top AM runner in the race is actually running very well. Well, it's not car number 8, that's out of the running. Setiwan Santoso, one of 3 drivers going solo. He's beached at the side of the circuit. I think that's up at turn 5. Yes, it is. There's Jiadang City Centre in the background. And we've suddenly had a change of position at the front. Alessio Picariello, I didn't see where it happened, has just moved ahead of Akash Nandi. I thought Akash had this all under control, but probably down into turn 14. Alessio Picariello has swept into the lead. Now he should be able to pull clear. Just 3 and a bit minutes remaining on the clock. So, okay, that's the consideration. We're 18 points for second, and only 10 seconds extra at tomorrow's pit stop. the right way to go? Was it better to grab the full 25, take the lead in the championship and serve that 15 seconds extra in your pit stop tomorrow? It's always this moment of jeopardy. The team have to work it out. What is the best balance? So here we have the move, the run from turn 10 up to turn 11. Race leader at that point still Akash Nandi. Looked as though he had things under control, but every lap he's been very good through turn 12. He's going through here now, then it morphs into turn 13, but that time he simply ran wide. Alessio Picariello, no consideration. They say you should never look a gift horse in the mounts. Well, you can fully understand why we missed that. There was so much going on, and actually it did look totally under control for Akash Nandi. Alessio Picariello must have been thinking, oh, is he going to pull away from me down that long back straight yet again? This time he didn't, because a little slip up there from Akash. At this point in the race, clearly working that Pirelli Racing rubber very hard. And if you look at these scenes, it's not a bright day anymore. It was when the cars were on the grid. The clouds have come over, but it's very, very warm indeed here at the Shanghai International Circuit. So, new race leader. There was lots of hollering and shouting when Alessio was picking off positions as soon as he started his stint from his teammate Anthony Liu, last year's champion. Came here fully 19 points down on the championship leader, Liu Wei, and now, look, new livery, new entry. Car number 2, Phantom Global Racing. They've got a couple of all-season Porsches, but certainly bringing some bright colours to play. And Hubo, who did the first part of the race, 2023, last year's GT Super Sprint champion in China. So it's good to have some new faces coming to play. And I must say, you know, the liveries of the Asian Series very, very different from the European, Australian and North American scene. It's good that the championships have their own identity. Right, 1 minute 23 on the clock. Therefore, this will be the final lap of the race. And having got into the lead, Alessio Picariello is just pulling away very nicely. 1.1 seconds clear of Akash Nandi. Adderley Fong is 3 and a bit seconds further back in third overall, and well, it's nothing like that now. The gap, I was about to say, the gap back to Liu Yihong Li is should be okay for Adderley Fong, but he's now on this final lap. Suddenly, this is the battle for third place. And if Liu Yihong Li can move that Origine Motorsport Porsche with its green and white livery up a position, he'll certainly not pocket 12 points for finishing fourth. He'll gain 3 positions, and it looks like he's got the move semi-done in the background. Who's going to come out ahead? If he goes, if finishes in third place, he's... No. Can Adderley Fong hang around the inside? Oh, there's nowhere for Andrew McPherson to go. That was very, very lucky for Adderley Fong. He had to gamble there, guess the right way. So he's got half a lap to resist in this battle for third position. But to finish my thought process, Liu Yihong Li in that 87 Origin Porsche, if he can gain a position, he won't pick up 12 points, he'll pick up 15 points for third place. Hasn't got long to go. He's effectively got the run. You don't make a move into turn 11. You've got the long run, 12 and 13. They're into it now. The Audi looked as though it made a slightly better entry to turn 11, and then the run down the back straight for the final time. Alessio Picariello almost home and hose. It doesn't look as though Liu Yihong Li is close enough going onto the long run. This is the long run, almost at the end of the long run, almost at the end of the final lap, and Alessio Picariello will be bagging a win for him and his teammate Anthony Liu, last year's champion. Akash Nandi just couldn't hang on, one little slip up. Such a shame for him and James Ukwai. They've already been race winners this year. Turn 15 negotiated. Turn 16, the final corner is done. No wheels dipping into the gravel. Their lights are flashing away. Alessio Picariello and Anthony Liu, they've been vindicated for asking for a new chassis. It's worked for them in the background of the shot. No third place today for Liu Yihong Li. Fourth place for him. Wins a Silver Am class for all it's worth in his mind. He really probably wanted a podium. Liang Jiatong coming through in 5th place, the Harmony Racing Ferrari that started on pole position. And Daniel Morad's had a really good second half of the race. He and Tao Chi have risen up the order, started down in 17th position, so to bag 6th position, that is a fantastic news for them. And a really, really strong result. Actually puts them second in the Pro-Am class. Alessio Picariello won that by taking outright victory. And Joel Eriksson, 8th place for him. Bear in mind this car started 31st, so 23 places gained. That will be as exciting to them as the 4 points they pick up for 8th overall. The top 10 completed by Maxime Houston. Bear in mind that got a penalty. Had to have a second visit to the pit, so the KRC BMW getting a really good run as well. To get in the top 10 with a time penalty is outstanding. And also, just to mention, Daniel Morad, right at the end of the race on that final lap, set the race's fastest lap by about 0.3 of a second. So the Canadian really absolutely flying Bear in mind, he arrived a day later than planned because his plane went tech as it was leaving Toronto. He arrived at Shanghai the same time as I did, but luckily remembers he did some laps here in a single-seater in 2008. Stood him in very good stead. But today belonged to Anthony Liu, last year's champion. Will he be champion again? He was an outside bet coming here. Really, 6 crews could take the title here at Shanghai, but after this race it's narrowed down to the 3 that had a chance. But really the story of the race is that Liu had things under control in 6th overall, didn't get to finish the race, picked up a 0 in the points, and that meant that his own teammate has moved to Anthony Liu on home ground, a Shanghai racer in Shanghai. Good to have friends and family around for him, and he'll be there to greet Alessio Picariello, who's just coming to conclude that slowing down lap, actually a slight distance still further to go, and he'll be very pleased indeed. They've been vexed as to why their car hasn't been handling the way they wanted it, but right now Absolute Racing with that new chassis have got it nailed for them. So, a race of plenty of action. Let's take a look at the results. And Anthony Liu started the race, Alessio Picariello finished it. In the end, 1.2 seconds over Akash Nandi, who brought the Audi number 41 home, and James Yu, who got from 2nd to 1st and led the race early on. Frankie Chen Kongfu and Adderley Fong started 3rd, finished 3rd, but that will augment their positions in the China Cup and silver categories as we go to the final round on Sunday. Liu Yihong Li and Bob Yuan, 4th place for them. Yang Jiatong and Wyan Chen. Harmony Racing started on pole, but good for 5th position today. And the car that really made loads of moves, Tao Chi and Daniel Morad, up from all the way down in 17th to 6th. Great result for them. Completing the top 10, Eduardo Liberati and Bian Yi in 7th. Futakon Intrafuvasak and Joel Eriksson from 31st to 8th. And then Volgas Motorsport, Kim and Han. And just behind them, Maxi Muston and Kunfan Ruan, who actually even had a drive-through penalty and still finished in the top 10. AM-class winners today, Climax Racing. And talk about Yin and Yang, because one of their sister cars was knocked out at the start of the race and pushed off as the cars were making the accelerate towards the first corner. A few fallers overall, but at the end we got home 24 of the 32 starters. But the story of the race today was this car, 3rd in the overall championship when it came here, a long way away, has just pocketed 25 points for victory. They will have a time penalty, and they'll have extra time in the pit stops tomorrow, but they've grabbed the point. Anthony Liu approaching with family to greet Alessio Picariello, who'll get out. He's the one who's got to get out and try and look cool, calm and collected. He had to fight for that, but as soon as there was half a gap, he was up the inside of Akash Nandi and grabbed the 25 points for victory. And thumbs up all around. So plenty of points consideration, and which position was the better for them, to grab the points today and take the time penalties. Their pit stop tomorrow, we will see. But they've decided 25 points. We will grab them with both hands. Benjamin Franacevici down there to pat the winning crews who've they had to fight hard. It really was on edge. Anthony Liu delighted with that. And again, just mentioned they've got a brand new chassis for this weekend. It appears to be paying off for them. Another race tomorrow, when the qualifying has been done for that, and they will be starting tomorrow's race from 5th place on the grid, but importantly for them, some positions ahead of Liu, who will still hold down 2nd position in the championship, just from Bob Yuan and Liu Yihong Li. But right now it's about the victors today. And Akash Nandi there, it was 2nd place for him and for James Yu. They fought so hard, they led almost every lap of the race, but just one little moment. But, you know, they're very happy. Well, let's go down with the winners, because they worked really hard. Anthony Liu, who started, and Alessio Picariello, who finished.
A fantastic win for those two. They struggled a lot during the season, and now they had it with some sprinkles on the new chassis, I guess. Alessio, you brought it back home safely. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I have to say thanks to the whole team, because they didn't give up all year. We knew something was wrong, but they didn't give up. They gave us a new car this weekend, and now we show that we can be strong. So I'm proud of the team, and I'm proud to be teammate with this guy. So the first step is done. We wanted to win this weekend, and now we need to finish the job tomorrow.
Anthony. Anthony, you're from Shanghai. This is your home race. It must feel special.
Actually, my wife is from Shanghai. I'm proudly from Xi'an, a northerner. So yeah, but this is my adopted home. Very proud to be winning here. Last time we won in Shanghai was in 2016, so a whole 8 years ago. And I won the race on the last corner of the last lap. So if that's anything to go by, let's see what happens tomorrow.
Speaking of tomorrow, it's 4-point difference.
Is it?
Yeah.
Only 4.
Yeah, it is only 4. So how do you see that? It's going to be
They were 19 ahead, no?
I think it's a bit less. They're close enough. It's
6
close
points.
enough.
okay, 6 points then.
Yeah, 6, yeah. Well, let's see. Finish in front of them and we're good.
All right, let's hope to see another smile tomorrow. Congratulations. Congratulations.
See, that's what it's all about. It's about keeping on top of the points total as well. 6 points, that could be vital. If it was 4, it was still going to be very tight indeed. But the simple thing for Anthony Liu and Alessio Picariello, finish ahead of their rivals. And it will be theirs. But, you know, maths and racing drivers aren't always easy bedfellows, but they'll be fully on top and the team will be keeping them abreast of the situation. And that was David Chipto Birantoro just coming shot. This is Akash Nandi, who came in second place, just walking away. Hope to get some words from him, but good to see him going across and congratulating Alessio Picariello, who just grabbed that moment to seize the lead. But for James Yu, standing on the right-hand side of the screen, and Akash Nandi, they worked hard. They led so many laps in the number 1 41 Audi from Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute. They really have had a good season. It hasn't always ended well for them, but today they'll take second. Let's go down to the driver who landed the championship, got the AM championship today. His name is David Chipto Birantoro.
Thank you. And here with the AM champions. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Crowned champion. How do you feel with the crown on your head?
I feel great. It's such a blessing. Good teamwork. I think the whole team was good, solid. I mean, what do you think?
You know, starting with the weekend and to finish the Saturday has been, regarding the championship, I think is the best way for the weekend. So we are super happy. Not easy during this race because many things happen with everybody, but also with us. But big thank you to the team, to all the team, and hopefully also tomorrow. Also, if we are okay for the championship, we want to win also tomorrow. Thank you.
So David and Christian Colombo, please party hard, but not too hard because you have another race tomorrow. But again, congratulations.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you.
The team like that very much. Garage 75, David Chipto Birantoro, driver from Indonesia, getting the job done. And Christian Colombo, Italian teammate, has supported him very well through the season so far. But we still have the overall driver's title to be sorted tomorrow. Let's take a look at the start. Didn't go well for the 22 Climax Racing Mercedes, clattered from behind from the number 13 Porsche and put into the wall. But a great start from James Yu, around the outside of Wang Chen, take the lead. And here's a moment where the yellow and red Porsche of Anthony Liu tried to make a move on third place on Frankie Chain, went out wide, and immediately Bob Yuan jumped through and pushed him back to fifth. A couple of Mercedes decided to run wide into the turn 16 gravel. No damage done other than places lost. And then making the moves, Anthony Liu up the inside, and at that point Bob Yuan thought, oh, well, okay, you're committed, but we won't get damage, and I'll just let you have the position at turn 14. A bit of bodywork out on the track, and our championship leader, Louvet, looked under control, and then suddenly someone got ambitious, and Andre Canard dived up the inside. It looked as though the Ferrari had got away with the Porsche, clearly not. That was damaged back to the pits, but eventually the Ferrari was brought in, and part of the side of the car was no longer attached, so both of those out of the race. Then it was the time for the pit stops, to run through the pits. How was it going to work? Bob Yuan coming to a standstill, Liu Yihong rushing to get into position. The Ferrari was the last to come in, and it went back out into the lead of the race, but Liang Jiatong did not have long in the lead, because all those behind with one lap more on their tyres had got the temperature into them. They hunted him down, they passed him in very swift order, and then it was the run towards the finish. And was the Ferrari going to stay in fourth? Nah, fifth. And that was Liu Yihong diving up the inside. Was he going to gain any more positions? This is a moment, unfortunately, there for the 63 Lamborghini, Ethan Yang Brown just getting it slightly wrong, and that led to a full course yellow. But as soon as the field was released, Akash Nandi started to look as though he had things under control, leading the race until that moment. At turn 11 going to turn 12, he ran wide. Alessio Picariello looked as though he was going to finish in second place, but there was the opportunity for first place. That means 25 points. And then in behind, this was very busy. Great defence from Adderley Fong. He really, as they both tried to go around the AMAC Porsche, he just managed to keep the charging Liu Yihong behind him, and that has a real bearing on the championship. There was a 3-point swing that really would have put the top 3 challengers so close. But Alessio Picario picked up the 25 points for victory, making his teammate Anthony Liu very happy indeed. And bringing it home, Anthony Liu greeted him in the pit lane. They've got the points in the bag. They'll have success penalty in the Sunday race, but they have those points. That could be vital.
Everybody please welcome with big applause.
So now it's time for the podium ceremony.
86, Frankie Chen Kung Fu, Adderley Fong.
And third place overall, second in the silver class today, leading that championship. Adderley Fong coming out and Frankie Chen Kung Fu.
On second place, car number 41.
Second place overall, the number 41 Audi from Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute is James Yu Kwai and Akash Nandi. James coming out first. Good strong race. One little slip up, but the winners today. Alessio Picariello and his teammate, last year's champion, Anthony Liu.
And now we gladly invite Anthony Liu, Managing Director of Total Lubricants China Company Limited and Senior Vice President of Total Energies Investment to award the trophies, please.
So as you can hear, trophy presentations right now, starting with the crew that finished in third place. Frankie Chen Kung Fu and Adderley Fong. There's Anthony Liu, Managing Director of Total Lubricants China. All the drivers, those in championship contention for the various classes that were still up for grabs today. Overall drivers, Pro-Am titled, Silver Cup, AM and China Cup. None of those have been settled, with the exception of AM. We had that interview with David Chipto Biantoro and his teammate Christian Colombo.
Let's get together
So all the others have to take this through to the final race, the 12th race of the 2024 Fanatec GT Asia Series. And really dissecting that race, there have been some great results, not just from those on the podium, but those who made their way up the order. Certainly some charging drives, and a couple in particular. Daniel Morad in the second half of the race, number 30, Craft Bamboo car, and 93, Joel Eriksson up from 31st to 8th. But the ones that got on the podium in the top three positions, there are the top three crews today, and it most definitely is champagne time. Porsche crew on top, two Audi crews on the flanks, but some great racing here today, and all these crews, they kept out of trouble, but really close racing. And this circuit, the Shanghai International Circuit, really affords a great place to come out and play. First visit since 2019, and I think all the crews have very much enjoyed their race today. Tomorrow's could be different. The race will start earlier, the weather might be slightly different, or maybe very different, because there's still talk of a typhoon blowing through. It may come through just after the race, but if it does come through, that could certainly add a little more spice to the mix. But today's been a really good starter. Now, the overall championship, and Anthony Liu was right to correct proceedings down there. They have a 6-point advantage after grabbing 25 points today. That puts them 6 points clear of Wai Lu. Lu Wai and Bob Yuan is just a further 4 points behind. Had he gained that, Liu Yihong Li gained one more position, then they'd only be 1 point behind in the battle for second and third. But they can all land victory. Almost, Frankie Chen Kung Fu and Adderley Fong almost could, but they'd need 26-point margin, not 25, and all they can score is 25 tomorrow. So really, it's the top three crews gunning for outright victory tomorrow, Sunday, here at Shanghai.
On second place, car number 30, Tauchi,
So
Daniel Morad.
Here we have Tauchi and Daniel Morad
And the
out
winners on
onto
first
the podium in
place,
second place in the
car
Pro-Am
number
class,
1, Anthony
joining
Liu,
Eduardo Liberati and Bian Yi. But Anthony Liu and Alessio Picariello call back out onto the podium because they took victory in the Pro-Am class as well.
And now we gladly
as
invite
outright.
Anthony Liu, Managing Director of Total Lubricants China
And also
Company
just
Limited,
congratulations
Senior
Eduardo
Vice President
Liberati
of
and Bian
Total
Yi, who
Energies
finished third in the Pro-Am
Investment
class
to
because
award
they
the
had to do that with success penalty from the previous race, fully 15 seconds. So that was a great result from them. They have bounced back. So the other Anthony Liu, one's on the top step and one's doing the presentations from Total Oils Thailand. So there we have our Pro-Am podium, and all very happy indeed, but the happiest drivers overall have to be the crew on the top step, because they're looking for the outright championship at the Pro-Am points as well. will make them, in fact, they've moved into the Pro-Am title lead as well, if my maths is correct, because Louvet, who was leading it, did not pick up any points today. So it really has fallen in their lap. But the overall driver's title, as Alessio Picariello makes his first mistake of the day, dropping his trophy, knocking his bubbly over. But there on the top step, it's been a really enthralling first day, from a slightly troubled and interrupted qualifying to a fantastic first race. And as we bid you goodbye after our Pro-Am podium, we've got more podiums to follow. But just remember, last year's champion, Anthony Liu, is playing with a bubbly all over again. So let's take a look again at the championship positions. 163 points. This is in the Pro-Am class. Doesn't quite put the title in the pocket in the Pro-Am class for Anthony Liu and Alessio Picariello, because Louvet and Biagni is very close behind. Biagni no longer can do it with Edoardo Liberati. They pushed hard today, finished third in the Pro-Am category, but it's a two-way battle for tomorrow, for Sunday at Shanghai. And Louvet, an outside runner. He was looking good today, but being taken out of the race has really hampered his chances. But Anthony Liu and Alessio Picariello, the pendulum has swung in their direction. And the podium ceremony continues here at the Shanghai International Circuit.
And now we gladly invite Anthony Liu, Managing Director of Total Lubricants China.
This is the silver class podium up onto the top step. Second overall in the race today, James Yu and Akash Nandi. Second is in the silver class on the left-hand side of your podium, Frankie Chen Kongfu and Adderley Fong. And third position, the number 77 crew that started on pole position. That's Waiyan Chen and Liang Jietong with their Ferrari. And Liang had high hopes today when he snatched pole position right at the death in a really interrupted first session. Did a great job through the course of the race. Their car did lead off the pit stops, but Liang Jietong was just trying to get the heat in the tyres, and all the rivals were bearing down that start-finish straight. And within a few corners they got past him, but he hung on to finish fifth overall and take third in the silver class here on the Saturday at the Shanghai International Circuit. And so Akash Nandi and James Yu on the top step for Audi Sports Asia Team Absolute. Second place, another Audi crew. And third place, Ferrari. So plenty of manufacturer interest here at Shanghai. And GT3 cars all around the world draw a huge amount of attention. And the racing was good today, must be said. A few incidents we didn't necessarily want, like the trouble at the start of the race and Louvet being taken out, but up and down the order, really some fantastic scrapping here in Shanghai. And the drivers have one more race to complete their season. Some of them, of course, will go on to race the Macau GT event in November, but this offers them a whole lot more space to play here at the Shanghai circuit. So let's take a look at the standings in the silver class. And there is a margin of 16 points for Frankie Chen Kongfu and Adderley Fong in the FAW Audi Sport Asia Racing Team R8 LMS. Ishan Piris and Tanar Satyan Thirikul are also in with the title hunt, and I would suggest Akash Nandi and James Yu, despite their great run today, they're 25 points down and there are 25 points to play for. Then it could go down to tiebreak. So they're there in with a title shot, but they really are the outside runners. And Frankie Chen Kongfu and teammate Adderley Fong also lead the China Cup standings as well. That was a good run for them today, third overall. And looking at
second place,
the next group of drivers coming out, that's the tall figure of Maxime Ouston and Ryan Kunfan for their BMW crew. They'd have been higher, but for having to report to the pits for a second visit. Car number 44 was second in the Silver Am class. That's Folgas Motorsport, Ming Wan Han and Kim Jae-hoon. And then the top crew today, fourth overall, winning the Silver Am class. It's the 87 Porsche crew from Origine Motorsport, Bob Yuan and Liu Yi Hongli up onto the top step. So the trophies for the Silver Am class, it was already wrapped up by a tiny margin, so we won't go through the points of that, but the drivers on the top step, where the drivers have put that title in their pocket at Okayama back in August, but still going for points, going for smiles, and really some very good runs indeed. And the top Silver Am car was the 87 Porsche, fourth place overall. You can see the two drivers up on the top step there, Bob Yuan on the left and Liu Yi Hong Li on the right, who really had a good scrap at the end. Very nearly got into third position, but just not quite, as the AMAC Motorsport Porsche went across the bows. So there are the crews, Porsche and the lone BMW. And the lone BMW would have finished probably at in second place on the track in Silver Am, but sadly to serve a penalty coming into the pits really hit them rather hard. But it's champagne time for the Silver Am runners. And again, it's worth reiterating, we have the many classes, and we have one special category called the China Cup for the Chinese teams, and they led it coming into this event. Now have a 10-point margin. It's eked out a little bit more, gained 6 points there. So that's Frankie Chen Kung Fu. Sorry, it's a 9-point margin, beg your pardon. 11-point, if my maths was good. Bob Yuan and Liu Yi Hong Li, they're in the mix as well, but Frankie Chen Kung Fu and Adley Fong, by staying ahead, just stretch their margin slightly. They're the only two crews that can go for this title. 11 points between them. You'd have to say the advantage is with the points leaders, Adley Fong and Frankie Chen Kung Fu, but Bob Yuan and Liu Yi Hong Li are going to push them very, very hard indeed in tomorrow's final race here at Shanghai. But there could be the issue of rain. And this is the AM class podium. The crew, number 40 crew, should be out there. Antare Zhao, who raced all on his own, was expecting Marcus Finkelhock to race for him, but he was ill, so Antare's all on his own, driver from Hong Kong. And then second place is this year's champion, David Chiptabiantoro and Christian Colombo. But victors, trophies coming out in the AM class, and the winning crew, the Climax Racing Mercedes duo of Zhu Bizhuang and Hu Yuqi. And they worked their way up to 11th place overall, so that was a good run for the Mercedes crew. Steered clear of the trouble on the start, just as the cars were powering away from the rolling start, and just kept cool, kept calm, and kept advancing, so good job.
Congratulations.
There we are, up on the top step. So the photographer in and out, trying to get the drivers all up onto the top step, and who knows if this will be the mix tomorrow. But this was the championship that was landed today, and the driver on the left-hand side on the second step of the podium, David Chiptabiantoro, driver from Indonesia. The championship title is his. He can relax tonight and then just totally go out to enjoy tomorrow's race, when his teammate Christian Colombo will be the driver taking the start. But let's do it, as Amy Izawa says, let's spray some bubbly. Race one here at the final round, the sixth and final round of the 2024 Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS, is in the bag. Just the final race tomorrow to sort things out. So in the AMS Championship, we know the identity of the title winner. He's there on the photograph on the right hand of the screen. David Chiptabiantoro. His teammate is now second in the championship by dint of missing around, equal on points with Ben Porter and Andrew McPherson in the AMAC Motorsport Porsche. But congratulations to the Garrow 75 crew. The title is theirs in the AM Championship. So tomorrow is going to be hugely exciting, and the drivers that started today will go second tomorrow. And really looking forward to the race, but there are a lot more titles to be settled, including the overall Drivers' Championship. Make sure you do not miss it. Our race will start at 11:20 local time tomorrow. Do make sure you can join us.